Hey guys, it's a miserable Sunday afternoon. It's been raining and carrying on outside, but that gives me a bit of time to do some work on the GSX-R. So today I have concentrated on getting all the lines right to do the painting. So as you saw, we've got it in white basically, and now we're getting ready to do all its masking up and its different colours. So I'll show you what I'm up to so far. I'll just spin around here. Make sure that I've got you lined up, which I think I have. Go down a little bit. Alright, there we go. So, I guess you would say that doing this sort of stuff is always, if you've never done it, it's always tricky. But in the same time, if you've taken lots of photos of your bike and you're bringing one back to original, as long as you start off with an original bike, you can take photos of your own in many different angles and then replicate those angles when you go to do something on it, so you're looking at the same picture, because pictures can distort a bit. I'm just trying to get the computer up. If you're standing in the wrong spot. So that's what I've been doing this afternoon, and I've spent a lot of time on it, and I've pretty much now got them right. You can see this ruler I'm holding, it should be that way. I have gone around and individually looked at points. So that's 15 mil. Between the bottom of that blue line and the top of that blue line is 15 mil. Which is, when I do the bike, the top of the gap and the bottom of the gap will be left white, and then the top of this will be dark blue and the bottom of this will be light blue, and then the sticker, comes down here. So this is, I've said this before, but this is white and then painted pearl, and then it hasn't been rubbed down yet, which it will get colour sanded by me gently. I'm just bringing up the computer, so excuse me for a minute, because I'll show you some stuff on that. Right, so I go along, and even if that line on the camera looks like it's fatter and skinnier and whatever, because there's a big hump here, right? So the bike goes down a big hump, or the body goes down a big hump, and then I go along and I measure about like there, and then I'll only go to about there and measure, and I do that all the way along that panel. So I can guarantee you I'm going to be somewhere at a show or just parked up somewhere at a big event or something, and someone's going to go, oh, that line's wrong, it's thicker here and thinner here, and I'll be able to honestly say to them, no, it's an illusion. What you're looking at isn't correct. It's actually an illusion. So I would have to make, like for instance, there's 15 mil there, and that line looks like it gets skinnier as it comes into this bend. So to do that, I'd probably have to open that up to about 17 mil. But that's not what Suzuki did, because if you remember, you won't be able to get it, but I can still read underneath there GSX-R, and there's a little patch just here, which is where the Slingshot sticker goes. So I can even see a repair there that I did because I wasn't happy. So anyway, that's what I've done there. And the same here, I measure all these. Now if we just turn around slightly, angle you down. I don't know whether you're going to pick that up on the computer. You can see it. So obviously here. So I might see if I can just bring these up a little bit for you. Where's the mousey thing gone? There it is. Okay, so we'll leave that across. So that's that bit that we talked about. Then when we come up here, this line here, so I look for points, and there's also a point, oh no, that's further up. Oh no, it's this one as well. Okay, so getting myself confused. So there's also a line that's not directly straight, because you can see that line there doesn't correspond to this line here. Right? So you've got to be careful on stuff like that. Some bikes do. Some bikes run all the way across and they join. So this one here, spin her into the bike. So this one here comes up here and doesn't join to that. Those two lines don't join up. Okay, and the top ones don't join up either because that would be dipped down. So the other points that you use as reference, and what I've used as reference on this bike, you've got your fins. So this fin down here, fin down here. So this one here, you can see there's a gap between there and there, but this one sits below. And then you come back around to the bike. Now what you have to understand here is that the top of that blue mark is going to be blue paint up. So you don't, it's not from here, and when I rip this off, because that would leave a white line, so it's from that mark there to there. Same again here, it hangs down below. So I go here, that little hooky bit there, I've got to go to the top of here, not to the bottom. It's very confusing when you're doing it. You have to really keep telling yourself, you know, the thinner the tape you use, the easier it probably is to recognise where you are. But the thinner the tape you use, I've got to now put stuff over the top of that and cover all that up. So if you use really thin tape, you don't want to leave yourself a little gap there, because when you spray it, it will show it up. So that's just, yeah, you've got to be careful of that. Again here, come back, oh, you can see that, you can sort of see that. The bolt here, these bolts on the frame, you can notice that's a little bit thicker there than it is here. So it's a tiny bit thicker here, because remembering it's here, in this corner here, and there's the bolt mark. So that's that there, and you can see that there, that's been copied there. So that white line will end up being that white line. So in this case, this bit in the middle will get masked up because we don't want it to be oversprayed. But then these panels will get separated. So this one's light blue, this one's dark blue, and this one has a bit of light blue just in this top section, which is this little line here. And I don't know why Suzuki did it, but there's a tiny little cutout right there, which is what that is. That's that little cutout. So that'll maintain white. And then this one here running down here, obviously that's that one. That there is when the bike had to repair, which I've had to do. So that one just runs down to a point there, which I've copied there, and it stops here for the white. And that little chunk there that you can see means nothing because it goes to this corner here. And then this one here, it does line up like that. That line comes down straight, and then that line will continue like that up there. Then obviously Suzuki will go in here. I've also, these little tags here, because when I finish with this, I pull all the panels apart and then I get them all ready to be painted. So I write on them, because so I don't forget, dark blue, light blue, and then a dark blue line, which is this bit here. That's got to get painted as a dark blue line, which if we slide up back to the bike, hopefully you can see there's a dark blue line that runs around it. Whoop, wrong one. This one here. That line there, there's a dark blue line, and that's that one. And that gets angled off there. And there's a little bit of blue on top, dark blue on top, but that's all one panel, so that doesn't matter. And then you've got this blue line here on the tank, which goes around, which is going to be this one. Oh, I'll pop you up a bit. Okay, so that white strip will end up being blue, and when I peel that off, from this line here down is dark blue. So, and that creates, this white line will become a blue line, and then as you can see on the computer, hopefully, there's a white line. So it's a blue line, then a white line, and then it goes to the blue tank. So it's the opposite here. That white line will go blue, that blue line will become peeled off and become white, and then there'll be blue for the rest of the tank coming down. So that's how we do that. This back one here, this gap here, this blue gap here, is roughly the same size as this one, but the white, and there'll be a white line, don't forget there, is different. This was factory and I copied it as the factory, and for some reason it's a wider line going around. So why Suzuki did that at that particular time I don't know, but I'm copied it and I'm happy with that. Because you got to remember that most of these bikes when they come out had the dual seat, which I've got. It's two pieces. There's a piece that sits here, take that off, and there's another one there, and I've got the other seat put away, which I just don't use. So this box was always an extra. I think he would have had to have ordered it from the factory back in the day as an extra part that you wanted to, you know, style your bike up, like you can do nowadays. Trisha's bike, her Z1000, Kawasaki Z1000, as an option, she's got a cover which we put on for normal riding. So, and we only take it off when we're doing cruising, when we put the saddlebags on. So if she wants to put something behind her, she can. So yeah, we do that. Alright, so that's about all at the moment. It was a long process to... The reason why I'm explaining it is because it looks like it, you know, it's just a few lines being put on, but the measurements and the way I do it, which is I use shadows so I can see where the old stickers were, which I explained earlier that I do that. There's two reasons. One of them is I know exactly where they are, and if anyone ever says to me, because you know when you go to certain places, people will scrutiny your bike, which is fine. I've got no problem with that. I like people to look at a bike and go, you know, it looks original, everything's in the right spot. Because when I go to a show and I look at a bike, if it's been put back together, I'll spin you around. If it's been put back together as an original bike, and they're telling me, you know, this is an original bike, I've spent all this money and I've had it done properly, well then I like it to be properly. I don't want the lines to be wrong. I don't want the stickers to be at the wrong spot, too far back or too far forward or too low on the back. I want it to be right. And I want it to be right for them because, like we've explained before, a lot of people just pay to have bikes built for them because they can't do it themselves or whatever. And I think if you're paying to have it done, they should do the research and make sure that it's right, not just put a sticker on it that's 20mm out, because people like me who go and measure things and do all this stuff and look at pictures for hours and concentrate on what we're doing, you know, we can see it and we just go, well, that's wrong. You know, we can't say anything else. We can't say, no, it's really nice, and don't worry about the sticker being 20mm out or in the wrong position or in the wrong font even, I've seen, because it doesn't work for us. We just can't help it, because I guess we become a bit anal when you're trying to do something properly. So there's always a few variations in bikes. You know, between my bike with the 88 and then they went to 89, I found like 5 or 6 variations that they do to different paint schemes and things like that. So, you know, you have to be really careful when you're looking at a bike and you think it's an 88 but it's an 89 and you're going, oh, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong. And then you read the plate on the other side and it says 1989, and then you go, oh shit, shouldn't have said that, because that is right for the next year. And that's what they did back then. It's the exact same bike, but just different little paint things they do. And then even to the point that later on they actually just changed the colour of the paint just slightly, you know, things like that. So someone said to me, there's a Suzuki, like one of these ones, which has the red on the box up here. Can you see that? No. There we go. It has the red on the box, and it was designed for a racing one, and it was like it was the double R. So mine's a GSX-R 750, and this was a GSX-R, so another R. And you know, someone said, "Oh, why don't you make it look like that? Because they're really," well, but that's not what this is, you know. So I couldn't do it because I just don't believe in that sort of stuff. You know, it's like with cars. If you want a HSV, buy HSV. But if you're happy to have an SS, get an SS. And I remember when Trish, my wife, rang up and she's got a Club Sport, and she rang up and said, "Oh, I've got a Holden Club Sport," and the lady on the phone at HSV said, "No, you don't, madam. You have a HSV." And she went, "Oh, okay then." So you know, she got taught over the phone what she had, but that was quite funny. That always stayed with me, you know, because of that. But anyway, so there you go. That's what we're going to do. I've got to go and do the other side, which I'll do tomorrow probably now because it's starting to kick on a bit late. And then we'll slowly get it in paint. So I will update you and show you what I'm doing when I get to those stages. And if I have any troubles, I will point them out to you what's happened along the way. So, but it'll be exciting once all the stickers go on. Now it's painted and I start putting all the stickers on, and then you do the final rub down to make sure you get any little blemishes out of the way, and then put your clear on, because once your clear goes over your stickers, you're done. I'll probably do a flow coat again because I've got the time. Flow coating is just when you put the clear on, let it go off, and then you rub it down gently with a couple of thousand grit or something like that, and then you put another load of clear on the top, and then you can then buff that pretty hard because underneath will be dead flat. So that's all flow coating is, and it gives you a better finish supposedly. So I've only done it a couple of times and it's a lot of work, but it does give you a nice finish. So there we go. Alright, well I hope that's not too boring. If anyone has any questions, by all means give me a bell. Subscribe to the channel and you can leave me a message. So, alright, well thanks for that and we'll talk to you later. Bye. The only reason why I've got the mirrors on there, it's because the mirrors actually hold the top of the fairing on. There's two bolts going there either side. There they are there. You have a look through there and there. So they're not done up tight, but that's what holds the fairing on. And I need the fairing on to do the striping. So that's why they're on. But the mirrors come up good, didn't they? I've got the choice. I can either put a clear over them, which will bring them a little bit more shinier. They've got a dull finish on purpose at the moment. So clear will bring them up. Or I can leave them the matte colour. Well, it's not matte, it's a semi-sheen. So we'll work out that a bit later. There you go. So just a quick walk around before we go. And as I said, at the moment, it's all about smoke and mirrors. This side's not been done yet. So I've got that one side done up. That's all ready to go. Then I'll come back tomorrow morning. I'll come back, put the fairings on this side, and mask it all up and get it ready. And then next week, hopefully, we'll get some nice weather, and we can get it in some more paint. Alrighty then. Cheers. We'll see you later. Bye. Hey guys, how you going? It's Monday morning and I'm about to mask up this side. So in the last video we did, we showed you the other side, so now this is how it'll start off, and I'll go through the same process. It's now been bolted on. I'll go through the same process of masking it all up, and once it's done that, I'll give you a quick look at that, and then we'll put all the panels off and cover up the bits we don't want to get paint on, and then we'll start doing that. Alright, so I will talk to you a little bit later when I've got this all masked up, and I'll show you. It's no good me just, if we sat here and just watched it, I can probably do a time lapse. I might see if I can do a time lapse, and then we can just zip through it really quick. So I'll set the camera up and do that maybe, because otherwise you're going to be sitting here for an hour just watching me take this up, which is a bit boring. Alright, well we'll do that. Alright, speak to you soon. Bye. Alright guys, we are looking at now the tank and what I've had to do to get the line straight. So it's just two lines that come around all the way down and they go around the side. See if I can spin that around for you. So they come down the side there on a particular angle and meet down the bottom. So the only way that I could see to do it properly was to pick up some straight lines within the tank and then make some grid references and then measure. So I measured from these corners down to here, both sides, from here down to here, again here to here, and then here to here, and that will give you the same either side. So even if it was 2 or 3 mil higher than what it was before, it's going to be exactly the same. It's not, in as much that I've been pretty careful to get them right. The only way that I can see that Suzuki did it back in their day, they probably had a stencil that fitted right over the whole bike, and then they sprayed the stripe and then took the stencil off. That's a lot of work, but obviously when they're doing lots of them, they probably had either chuck away stencils or they had one, or a few of them, and they could do it. So that's the only way I could really see how they did it. But anyway, we just take our time and get it as best we can and go from there. Alright, just a quick update, and I will talk to you a bit later.